seemed to get a good start and get away from Steve and put a good gap in between us, and I think that was it really. See it all together and we finished.
Yeah, what's the first thought getting off the line? How much concentration is there getting it away so well?
Just so hard to get it just right. Too many revs and you're going to wheel spin and go nowhere. You've just got to try and pull off slowly. Think I'm pulling off and it's raining and it's slippy. I've just got to pull off slowly and get away.
Second position, Congratulations, Steve. Tell us about your chase of Joss.
It wasn't really. It's just I didn't get to make a bad start really, better than what I usually do. But he's quicker than me, so it's just a matter of just keep it on the black stuff and try and conserve the tyres and the engine for next race. Really, I wouldn't have caught him, so he's too quick.
A drink coming in for you here, which you probably need. It's nice sunshine here, hot conditions. How hard is it for you in there in this sort of weather?
It's quite hot. It's a turbo as well. It does blow in here quite hard, but yeah, it wears you out.
How long have you been with this particular piece of kit?
Well, this is a bit like the proverbial broom. It's had different engines and different body shells, so I suppose you could say all my career really.
So third position in that race. Congratulations, Piers Granger, podium for you. Tell us about the start.
Yeah, we had a pretty rubbish start as we normally do. Lost about a couple of places off the grid, so it makes good entertainment and good, I suppose, to watch. Me sort of fighting my way back through them all again. But I was hoping to sort of latch onto the back of Steve and either stay with him or put him under a bit of pressure, hopefully. But it didn't happen. Got held up for sort of half the race, and that was it. Steve had gone, really.
You say rubbish start. Is that you or car or a bit of both?
Car. It's got that much torque. You just can't stop the wheels from spinning off the line. It's very difficult to get going. It's either all or nothing. So we need to master that a bit better, I think.
And is it? I don't suppose there's any way you can really practice things like that, is there?
Not really. I think I've done probably about 10 starts in the car since I've owned it, and I've only had one good one.
Nicky Crisp, who is a volunteer with the Air Ambulance Service. Now, we have seen the Air Ambulance today, but it was a display flying over here, which is great. You're predominantly here for fundraising because we've got a great crowd, and fundraising is a very important part of what you need to do.
Yes, we are a charity and we do rely on public donations to keep the air ambulance operational, and we're glad that it could fly over and everyone could see it. It reminds everybody, what we do and that we are here to help you if you need it.
How's the response going today?
Yeah, it's good. Our favourite product is the paramedic bears. The little girls love them with their pink backpacks.
And obviously Autoglim and the Classic Touring Car Racing Car Club have invited you along, and enjoying the event yourself?
Yes, it's great. I have gone over and seen a few of the races and a couple of the crashes. But luckily nothing serious enough for us to come back.
As well as Kent, you cover Surrey, I believe, as well?
We are the Kent, Surrey and Sussex Air Ambulance. Yeah, we have 2 helicopters, one based in Marden in Kent and one based in Dunsfold, which is on the Surrey-Sussex border. And we cover all 3 counties, wherever the helicopter is needed.
Okay, well, it's fantastic work you do. Thanks ever so much for coming today. I hope that the day works out well for you.
Thank you very much.
Next up, it's action from the Classic Group 1 Touring Car Championship in association with Dunlop and sponsored by Hammerite. Jim McLaughlin has taken pole position in his Ford Capri. He starts alongside Roger Stanford in the BMW 2002. And 2 more Capris on row 2, Mark Fowler and Adrian Fuller, the drivers. And we've got Dave Margulies and Mark Irons on the 3rd row ahead of Neil Bray in his Ford Fiesta. And the Triumph Dolomite Sprint in the hands of Mark Lucock this time. Alan Wayman in the mighty Chevrolet Camaro is on row 5, and Steve Yates right at the back of the field in his Ford Escort.
So this championship for pre-1983 touring and saloon cars, effectively to FIA Group 1 type specification. 7 classes, 5 capacity classes. There's also a class for production BMWs and an invitation class for cars that otherwise don't fit the rules. 5 red lights go on, they go out now, and away we go then. It's a poor start there from the pole position man Jim McLaughlin, so Roger Stanford cuts across in front and takes the lead of the race. It's a good start too from Al Wayman from the 5th row of the grid in his Chevrolet Camaro. He goes through several places. He started in 10th position, the driver from Watford. We go on board with Tim Scott Andrews, who started just 1 place behind Alan Wayman, but is several places behind him now on the track as Stanford leads then. In 2nd place it's Jim McLaughlin. In 3rd place it's Mark Fowler. 4th looks to be Matthew Irons in his BMW 323, the driver that is 2nd in the championship to Jim McLaughlin. And then in 5th place it is Al Wayman, who's made up then 5 places from the start. Neil Bray, you can see, going through on the inside in his Class E Ford Fiesta. But we go on board with race leader Roger Stanford as he comes through to complete the first lap.
And looking through the windscreen at the moment, you wouldn't know anything about the pressure which is on his shoulders, because there are two Capris charging down on the, not quite on the rear bumper of the BMW 2002, but very close to it, and should Roger make a slight mistake, they will be there. But there's already a car heading out of the race. That's Steve Yates in the number 77 red Escort. So shame for him, didn't really last a lap, did he? Coming down the hill there and straight into the pit. Roger Stanford then still leading the way, feeding the steering wheel through his fingers, through Devil's Elbow there. Looks the picture of relaxation, but as I say, Jim McLaughlin and Mark Fowler trying to wrestle that lead away. We've had a change for fourth place there. We did, last time we saw, had Matthew Irons in fourth position, but he's lost a number of places. It's now Alan Wayman in the Chevrolet Camaro, which has taken fourth position.
End of lap 2 then. It's Roger Stanford leading in his BMW 2002 from the two Capris of Jim McLaughlin, the championship leader, and in third place Mark Fowler in his 3-litre Capri, as is the car of McLaughlin ahead of him. Then there's a gap back to fourth place. Now is it still Alan Wayman that holds on? I don't think it is. No, it is. He is still there, just ahead of the David Margulies Capri that I think is into fifth position then. There's Mark Lucock in Tony Crudgington's Triumph Dolomite Sprint, the blue car going through at the head of that particular group. And there's a couple of the BMWs further down the order, including Charles Hodge in the number 86 car. He's in the 320. Oh, a change of lead here. Through on the inside at Paddock Bend has gone the championship leader Jim McLaughlin. He had 54 points coming into this round, 4 points clear of Matthew Irons, and he's going the right way about, scoring maximum points again here today.
Yeah, good move that. He came from quite some way back to take the lead then at the end of lap 3. What has Roger Stanford got in the way of a reply, I wonder, as the very wayward in third place Mark Fowler continues to charge on as well, but in any excuse there, he's getting the Capri very, very sideways, which is great to see. Oh, look at that, through Devil's Elbow. We'll be losing him a little bit of time, I'm sure. He's enjoying himself here at Lyden this weekend. Roger Stanford still in second place in that smart-looking BMW. The weather. Fowler, though, will be able to find a way past, as Jim McLaughlin did a short time ago. The BMW taking a nice wide entry. They're side by side here for fourth and fifth positions as well. So that's Margulies trying to squeeze his way past the large Camaro with no such luck at this stage. But Margulies slowly working his way through the order. Started fifth. He's made his way to fourth, and sorry, he's stayed in fifth, hasn't he? He's trying to make his way into that top four. But at the moment, the Camaro, very, very wide machine, and even if he should get past that American beast of a car, it's going to be then quite some distance to try and make up to that top three that have now worked their way through Devil's Elbow and climb up the hill with some slow traffic to deal with.
Indeed there is. Alan Wayman we saw out in one of the earlier races, the post-historic touring car race, and that's one of the great attractions of racing with the Classic Touring Car Racing Club. You can have multiple races during the weekend. You can race in your own class, and then you can race in effectively the newer class on. So in Alan Wayman's case, he can race in the pre-74 post-historic touring cars with his car, which was built in 1971. And you can also race in the pre-83s, of course. So it's an excellent place to go motor racing if you have a car from this kind of era. And looking further back, here I can see the little red Fiesta. That is Neil Bray, who always goes very well in number 76, and in the right conditions can be something of a giant killer. And then there's the Escort, and then the Rover just behind. I think that could be the Rover. Is that of Alan Roper? It's behind them. Climbing the hill goes Alan Wayman, starting to come under a bit of pressure there from Margulies, in a smoky car there as well. It looks like it's the Mark Lucock Dolomite Sprint there, just ahead of Matthew Irons, who's the Class C Championship leader, but Roger Stanford has joined him in the class this weekend and is therefore taking points away from Matthew Irons as he battles for the championship with Jim McLaughlin. Another driver towards the front of the points is Daniel Smolton as well. He races in Class F for the production BMWs, and now we've got the two Rovers on the track, slightly different eras. We've got the Rover P6 of Peter Holton, and also you've got Tim Scott Andrews there in the Rover Vitesse.
I would guess most of these cars will actually favour the straight lines of Linden Hill and not too much the corners, but the SD1, the Vitesse, far more of a bred for racing, that car, I would imagine, and possibly a little more difficult for Peter Holton to wrestle the P6 around. But he's doing well so far and keeping it ahead of the newer machinery. Blue flags being waved there, I think, for the cars up ahead of this battle, but also tucked in behind was Dom Sandon in the black and green BMW 320. There he is in the background again, being lapped by a few more cars. Blue flags again being waved at the top of the hill, and obviously the Vitesse now has managed to squeeze ahead of the older P6 and is leaving it for dust to some extent, heading down the hill there. In fact, it goes straight into the pits, does the P6 of Peter Holton, so obviously there are problems afoot there, and he goes into the paddock, presumably into retirement.
So Peter Holton will go back and see if there's any work that can be done to that car, if he wants to bring it out again later today. Oh, spectacular Capri drifting there through paddock on the first and third place drivers, Jim McLaughlin and Mark Fowler. Now that has given Roger Stanford the sniff of a chance here, because he's right up again with Jim McLaughlin here as they go around this long right-hander onto Dover Slope towards Devil's Elbow. They will go left-hander, only real left-hander of this L-shaped Linden Hill lap, climbs up the hill again, not too much between them. There's a slower car to be negotiated there. I think that's the number 98 car of Chris Marsh, his 1985 2.8 Ford Capri. And also being lapped there is the Alfa Romeo 2000 GTV of Tony Welsh, the Londoner driving that 1979 car. All of that backmarker lappery has caused a little bit of spreading out among the top three, with more of an advantage now for Jim McLaughlin.
A little bit sideways again there for the third place Capri. That's still Mark Fowler. But one thing that strikes me when we go on board with Roger Stanford is just how much input he's putting into the steering wheel there, just seemingly to keep the car in a straight line, and that's exactly not what Chris Marsh is doing. A big off there for his Capri, much further down the order of course for the number 98 car, but he's gone off there at Devil's Elbow, and there's some heavy impact for the driver's side there. And I don't think there was any impact or contact at all on the lead up to that. It was almost as if something broke on the car, or maybe the brakes just gave way, but all of a sudden the car goes off at a dramatic speed and slams into the tyre wall. The marshals were a little more concentrated on the group of cars ahead of that and were distracted slightly, but straight to his aid they are, and I think he's going to be okay.
So Chris Marsh joins Peter Holton and Steve Yates in retirement from this race. So we have 19 cars still circulating, a very healthy number, but I wonder how much longer we'll see Mark Lucock out there for in that number 14 Triumph Dolomite Sprint. He qualified in 8th position in that 1973 car that is in Class C for cars between 61 and 2,500cc. And there is the 54 car, which is Alan Roper in Class B, as Neil Bray makes a mistake in his little Class E Fiesta, and that, well, I was going to say gives the Rover a chance, but Neil Bray managed to cover that move quite nicely.
It must have been a rough old ride though in what is a very small car, short wheelbase, and he's managed to get the car back under control, but he will be overtaken by the looks of things by the big Rover as we head to this battle. Well, it's a lappery for Mark Fowler, isn't it? Just squeezing in on the inside there of Dom Sandon. So Fowler still in 3rd position. 2nd place in the hands of Roger Stanford, who we go on board with now with again some traffic to be dealt with, so this may well spell an opportunity to squeeze past Jim McLaughlin, but he'll need to be a bit closer than this. McLaughlin squeezing up the inside of the black Escort, which appears to have its rear window missing, so that will be generating some fresh air for the driver heading up the hill. And in fact, by the look of the front end as well, there's no windscreen either for the black Escort, just squeezing its way through for David Howard, so he will be having to contend with a slightly wayward car, but also a strong breeze in that machine.
And obviously, of course, see David out in one of the big Jaguars rather than the little Escorts, let alone one with half of its glass missing. And you see the BMW of number 59 then, that's Dom Sandon, the Reading driver, and there is our 2nd place man in a slightly older BMW, the Classic 2002, still chasing down the Capri of Jim McLaughlin. And there you can see Jim in the distance, that far up the road actually, and Roger's still working very hard to close in on him. Jim was the only driver to break the 52nd barrier in qualifying. He's at a 49.789, which is a shade over 72 miles per hour. Roger was 50.045, so about a quarter of a second slower, but he's certainly making up for that with his exuberance during the course of this race. There though is our race leader, a bit more backmarker lappery for him to deal with as he goes through to complete another lap.
More sideways action as well for Jim McLaughlin, but nicely controlled, nowhere near as sideways as Mark Fowler, although in the background a fairly genteel run for him through paddock that time. Once again, a lapped car is the safe margin between Jim and second place man Roger Stanford, who just can't quite get close enough to squeeze by the number 1 car. The white Capri with the green trim looking smart, championship leader, and no stopping him at the moment. Mark Apps is the next man to need to be lapped, and the blue flag's being shown to the Ford Lotus Cortina. Mark, in due course, will make sure he stays well and truly out of the way of Jim McLaughlin, who negotiates the hairpin, heads down Hairy Hill and towards paddock, and may have a chance here to squeeze at the inside of Mark Apps, although Mark actually, having said that he's going to stay out of the way, doesn't do a great job of that in the end, although towards Chessons Drift finally the race leader can get by that red Cortina. Again in some traffic, this time for the Rover Vitesse of what looks like Tim Scott Andrews, no, I beg your pardon, it's the other one, isn't it, of Alan Roper, just behind the Lucock Triumph Dolomite with that front right damage. As you can see, I think it was Lucock himself that managed to run that down the Armco barrier in practice earlier on.
There you can see the 86 car of Charles Hodge going through. Close